Now, before we begin, I invite you to settle into a mindset of active engagement. As you listen to my voice, visualize what I'm sharing. Imagine how these concepts look, feel, even taste in your mind's eye. Consider taking a gentle walk outside in nature or engaging in another calm activity that you enjoy. This isn't for my benefit, but for yours. When you allow yourself to relax into this flowing state, your mind opens to deeper understanding, ensuring that you extract maximum value from our time together here. Now, let's get into this course. We're going to be discussing brand strategy. My name is Brennan Gerald, and I am a creative consultant and designer. I've been working in this field for a little over 10 plus years and fortunate to be able to establish relationships that I'm able to offer my clients as much value as I possibly can. My hourly rate is $400 per hour, and my minimum level of engagement starts at about $15,000. That's the minimum level required for me to actually jump on a project with you. And you may be wondering why I'm saying this or what makes you worth this kind of money. What do you do for businesses? Well, let me tell you, and I'll try and put it as clearly as I possibly can. I teach plant based, ethical, eco friendly businesses how to harvest the windfall profit that's sitting in every business that most people don't allow themselves to mine. I teach people how to turn one shot sales into ongoing, perpetual streams of income. I also teach them how to have a lot more fun competing and gaining competitive advantage over everybody in their marketplace or industry. How do I do this? All right. I help my clients achieve leverage. I do this by analyzing, measuring, identifying, and then replacing certain underperforming aspects of your selling, marketing, advertising operations with alternatives that perform better. Let me say that one more time. I help my clients achieve leverage by analyzing, measuring, and identifying, and then replacing certain underperforming aspects of your selling, marketing, advertising aspects with alternatives that perform better. I want you to see up here some of the clients and collabs that I've had the pleasure of engaging with and calling them my treasured clients. Please look them up on IG, look them up on LinkedIn. Many of you may already know them. If not, I am honored to be able to showcase them to you here. So let's jump right into it. Now, I want to talk now about the different world brand strategy, which is really a philosophical strategy that I believe once you learn it, you'll use it to replace everything else you've adhered to as far as the driving strategic force behind everything you do, everything your team does, every relationship you have, even the way you relate to everybody in your business and in your life. Now, let's talk about seeing the big picture. I'm going to do it two ways here. The first is to give you a big overview, a big global or 50,000 foot overview. I'm going to tell you the basis. I'm going to give you a lot of details, and the details are going to require me to refer to continuously to notes that I've established as foundational anchors, and they're going to be a little more extemporaneous than even this. Next slide, please. The trusted advisor role. Now, first of all, this brand strategy starts out by asking you to suspend from today forward the way you've operated your business, the way you've looked at your relationship with your clients, the way you've looked at your goal and purpose. It suggests and demands actually that from this moment forward, you see yourself in the relationship you have with your clients as their most trusted advisor, counsel, confidant, in the field of endeavor, in the area of expertise, and in the outcome area that your product or service at work, in their life, or in their business produces. Now, is that too complicated? Let me try and state it differently. You want to be seen from now on by everyone you deal with as the definitive expert source and the most trusted advisor, and as a fiduciary, as someone who's taken on the responsibility of their governance, of their decision making, of their best interest, as their most trusted counsel, not as a purveyor of a commodity, not as a generic seller of services or products. Next slide, please. Shift in attitude. In order for you to successfully adopt and embrace this brand strategy in your organization, you have to start a bunch of different shifts in the way you refer to everything you deal with. The first thing you have to shift is the attitude of who you are selling to. We're in a world, a competitive world, where there are two, count them, two separate forces trying to turn every one of us into commodities. The first is our competition, who wants to marginalize our advantage, who wants to marginalize our distinction, our differentiation, any preemption we've got. The second is the consumer, who wants the same thing. Their pushes forces like mad on us. But if we succumb, if we embrace it, if we accept it, then we basically wave the white flag of surrender. Next slide, please. Fiduciary responsibility. Okay, so fiduciary is someone who manages and acts on behalf of your best interest, right? So the way that you change this is to start mentally by seeing yourself as the trusted advisor, as the fiduciary. And as such, you will never, ever, ever, three evers, again, allow one of your clients to ever purchase less than they should, in less quantity or combination than they should, in less quality than they should, less frequently than they should, because to allow them to do that is to breach your fiduciary responsibility as their trusted advisor. Now, if you know with certainty that doing something one way and in one combination and at one level is going to produce 4 or 5 or 10 times the result for them, that doing it at a lesser way or not doing it would occur, and you are in fact wearing that hat as their trusted, permanent, definitive advisor, as their ultimate counsel, as their fiduciary, you can't let them do it. You wouldn't want your attorney to say, well, do this, even though you're going to be exposed to all kinds of litigation. No, you want him and her to basically grab you philosophically by the shirt, shake you a bit and say, look, you could do that, but it's going to be not the best outcome. It's going to be not in your best interest, and it's going to have a terrible result. Here's what you have to do, and here's why. Wouldn't you? Next slide, please. The value of client love. So that's the attitude you have to have. Now, you got to start by changing the focus of what you do and who you do it for. Most people I've met in business, when I first meet them, have fallen in love with the wrong thing. They get the hottest, coolest product or service or company in the market or in the world, and they are so enraptured with it. Everyone's rallying around the company, and they want to be the fastest growing or the biggest, most successful, dominant force in the market, and all the team members are rallying behind them, and that's admirable, but wrong. You should not fall in love with your company or your product or your service. You should fall in love instead with your client, because if you fall in love with your client and everything you do, every recommendation you make, every communication you utter or expend. Everything about your being or existence is designed to see their life better off, their life more enhanced, their life more enriched, their life more protected, their life more benefited, depending, of course, upon the result of the product or service that you render being actioned and implemented in their life. Then you're going to have an incredible advantage over everybody else because you're living for their betterment. You're existing to see their life massively improved, expanded, protected. And in order to do that, you've got to see your relationship with that buying force or with the people who you serve as one of an advisor, an expert, an authority, a counselor, a fiduciary. They are your clients. Next slide, please. Clients versus customers. You'll notice frequently that I very rarely will refer to anybody who buys from me or any of our clients as customers. I try to refer to them totally and always as clients. Why? Because it connotes a much higher level of relationship, a much deeper sense of intimacy, bonding, trust, respect, authoritative respect. Most people don't have authoritative respect in the selling environment. You do when you practice this brand strategy. This strategy requires you to think of people as clients because of two reasons. Number one, because as a fiduciary, that's what they are. Number two, look up in Webster's two words, customer and client. I'll save you the trouble. Customer, according to Webster's, is someone who purchases a commodity or a service. By referring to the people you sell to as a customer, verbally or even in your mind, you're waving the white flag. You're saying, hey, I'm nothing more than a commodity. You can buy me, you can buy him, you can buy anything else. Look up client. Webster's dictionary defines client as someone who's under the care, the protection, the betterment, the well-being of another. Now, which one makes better sense to you? Next slide, please. So you got to basically see them as a client. Then you got to realize you have three sets of clients under your product or service, only one of which pay you. You pay the other two. The first one is your team members and staff. If you don't fall in love with them, if you don't want for them the greatest outcome, the greatest growth, the greatest achievement, the greatest satisfaction, the greatest happiness, the greatest purpose, the greatest happiest families, for their families to be the richest they can be, both in monetary terms and in emotional and psychological terms, then guess what? The chain of congruency is broken. They can't basically be a lever or an extension of your big vision, can they? Think about it. Same thing with your vendors. Don't try and hammer them down or haggle them down for the best price. You want them to be successful. You don't want them to get more on you than they should, but you want them to see you as their greatest advocate, their greatest admirer. You want them to think of you first, to constantly be coming up with solutions, improvements, solutions, breakthroughs for you. Next slide, please. The brand strategy we're talking about really presumes and expects you will absolutely commit yourself, your company, your entire team of clients to a constant array of breakthroughs in the area of marketing, brand strategy, management, and innovation. Management, I'm not going to talk a lot about because it's not my focus today. Marketing, brand strategy, and innovation, non-technical are. Change your marketing, change your results. Big way, big time. Increases of hundreds of percent or thousands of percent yield are absolutely possible. As I'll demonstrate to you, later when we begin some of our exercises, when we talk about the 3 ways to evolve your brand strategy. Number 2, change your strategy, change your results, change your time, change your impact. It's the fastest, easiest, most certain way to lever up a business almost overnight. Change the strategy, change the business model. Innovation, it's a misnomer to a lot of people. Gosh, it's high tech. It can be, but not necessarily. All it means to me is orchestrating greater, more beneficial enhancement or improvement to your client's life or situation that they appreciate and value. It doesn't much matter if you got the ability to make a product 10 times better if the client doesn't appreciate it. It doesn't much matter if you got the ability to produce it at 1/10 the cost of your competitor if you don't bring a cost savings to the client or use the difference to add to the package so that they get a better outcome. You got to understand, if you study the greatest companies today and the greatest companies throughout really the last 10 or 15 years, they are historically the companies who've engineered the maximum quantity of quality and consistent, meaning continuous qualitative breakthroughs in those 4 areas: marketing, strategy, innovation, and management. Next slide, please. Long-term relationships. Now, this brand strategy requires some other things that you do. The first is you can never allow someone to do whatever it is they want. You got a moral obligation not to allow them. It's a good point. I need a half-filled bottle of water, please. Here. Those of you who have never heard this, as redundant as it is, you can't hear it enough times, and having made it prisoner on video via my YouTube page, DFFRNTWRLD.TV, so you can demonstrate to your clients, your team members, or your vendors and suppliers, is really great. Now, presume I own Different World Eco Bar, and Susan comes in parched and thirsty and throws $2 on the counter and says, "I want a half bottle of water, please." If I take Susan's money and gleefully and jubilantly say, "Okay, thanks, ma'am," and I go to the fridge and hand it to her, knowing as I do, because I'm an expert on water and its impact and implication to the body, the mind, the spirit, and the soul, that if all she drinks is half a bottle today, well, it may temporarily satisfy her parched taste, but her molecular, cellular chemistry will be compromised. Her brain chemistry won't function. Her organs won't work. Her elimination won't work. She's going to be more stressed, not going to be operating at peak mental acuity. She's going to be probably grumpy, irritable, less than perfect. She's going to be a pain at home, a pain in the office. She's going to be less effective in business and in motivating people, negotiating with her vendors. She's going to compromise longevity. She's going to be susceptible to more health problems. But if I just take her money knowing that, and I don't first go out of my way to authoritatively educate her, to make certain she recognizes the implications and my recommendation that she gives herself 7.5 more of those, either here or somewhere else. And if I don't make sure that she's consciously aware of the implication and the need and my passionate belief that she should be getting 7.5 more, even if she can't take them all here, drink some later today. Or if she doesn't like me, she gets them somewhere else. If I take her money and allow her to just take half a glass without extending my fiduciary responsibility, then I've breached my moral obligation. Does that make sense? Concurrently, if she comes in and buys 8 glasses every other day, but she should be getting 8 every day, and I do the same thing, I must make darn certain that she knows that it's much better to get 8 a day or every other day than just half a glass. Otherwise, you're compromising yourself. You're not going to perform well. You're going to live less. Your body's going to be breaking down. You're going to be a lousy leader, manager, girlfriend, wife, mother, lover, friend, thinker. I am doing Susan a gross and a grievous and a moral disservice. Does that make sense? That should be the methodology. That should be the basis. The reason why neither you nor anyone on your team should ever again allow anyone to consciously buy less than they should, in less combination than they should, in less qualitative levels than they should, less often than they should, because if you do that, you are disserving them. Does that make sense? Next slide, please. Attitude and contribution. Now, I want you to think for a moment. Listen to what I'm saying and think about your life. Think about the transaction you have in your business as the executive buyer for all kinds of products and services for your business, and in your personal life as a consumer for necessities around the home, for products or services that you use for indulgences. Think about the people you deal with and the people in your life that you respect the most, because they are not passive. They are not equivocating. They are not willing to solicitously and panderously let you buy anything you want. They take a stand. They assert themselves. They authoritatively say, Susan, I can't do that. I can't sell it to you. It's not going to serve you well. It's not the right product for you. Another example is a client of mine called City Bikes. They were based in Washington, D.C., and the story of their bicycle shop in Adams Morgan some years back that counseled this father who was buying his son his first bike. They said you shouldn't buy the $400 one because the first time he's going to fall, he's going to beat the you-know-what out of it. It's a wonderful bike, but it's much harder to ride. The $125 one is a much better starter bike. It's going to serve him well. It's durable. It can be banged up. It can be ridden twice as fast and get balance, take the training wheels off. It was purposefully designed for this purpose. As soon as you're done with that, and he's gotten all the trials and tribulations out of it, then you can upgrade him. You've got a responsibility to guide your client to the right decision. And you got to see your relationship as a permanent one, not as a static one. You got to see that you're having a relationship with that person forever. And even if you have currently nothing else to sell, that person is important to you. He or she has become or is becoming a valued client and a deared and valued friend. You've got an obligation responsibility to counsel, guide, and concern yourself with their well-being for the rest of their life. And that means connecting with them because they're a rich source of expanded business, of referrals. But that shouldn't be the reason. The reason should be that you shouldn't be in business unless you care about their outcome. Next slide, please. Empathy and understanding. You know, this brand strategy presumes another attitude, that you look at everybody out there that you want to do business with, and that you make it a point of deciding that you're not going to wait for money to change hands before you start contributing, guiding, counseling, advising, consulting, and protecting them. This will blow their minds because it will definitively and differentiatingly set you so far apart from everyone else you deal with by the way you do it. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I decide that I want a business relationship with Kristen or Krista, and Christopher doesn't see it yet, it's incumbent on me to protect him now, because I'm only going to enrich and protect him, get him better molded for when we start doing business. And I'm going to constantly deal with him as if he was already my client. It's a very powerful distinction. This brand strategy also asks and expects you to do something else. It says that you start to dispel forever the question that most people struggle with non-verbally all their life in business. The question that most people struggle with is, am I worthy of the goal I've set? Can I really build my business to $5 million? Can I really make $850,000 a year? Can I really attract 2,500 clients a year? Can I really keep them all satisfied? Can I really stay on top of all the business knowledge and all of the tech changes? Can I really compete in the bigger, larger, more aggressive, better capitalized brands? Well, that's not the question, as you'll see when I give you all my insights to geometric business growth. The right question to ask yourself from now on is the goal worthy of me? Because you'll learn very quickly there's so much more higher and better achievement, connections, contribution, impact, education, protection, enhancement, enrichment, entertainment that you can render, and you should live for making people's lives better because you are in it. Part of this brand strategy means that you learn to listen. You learn to hear what people are saying. You slow down enough to make their point more important to you than your point. And you acknowledge them, and you are genuinely interested in what they're doing. Let's reflect for about 1 minute in fascination at a phenomenon and a principle that I had never thought about because it was so simple and yet so evasive and elusive to most people. If you want to be the most interesting person in the room, all you have to do is be the most interested. If you want to be the most respected, all you have to do is respect. If you want to be the most passionate, have passion for others. It's like a mirror image. So that's part of this brand strategy. The next part about it is that you've got to realize that it's not about what you say and do. It's about how much more value you can give to your prospective client that they appreciate and desire. It's not just about having a unique selling proposition. It's about establishing yourself from the very beginning as the only viable solution to a problem, a challenge, a solution, or an opportunity in their life that you alone give clear and absolutely dimensional and tangible animation or shape to by crystal clear explaining it and titling it, something that no one has ever connected the dots for them for. It's about never, ever, ever allowing anyone on your team to not share your vision and recognizing that they can't share your vision if you don't share it with them. Most people make the terrible mistake of going right for the bottom line. We're all about making the customer or the client the most valuable person to us, and we're passionate about them. Well, you got to get people through the process sequentially. Bring them along, particularly your team of clients and your vendors. They've got to be able to see life the way you see life. And that requires you to first see life the way they see life. And the only way you'll do that, if you practice this brand strategy, is literally to do the following thing. Decide this moment that from now on, you will commit to and always try to examine, understand, empathize, respect, appreciate, and carefully evaluate how everybody else you interact with sees life. Now, you don't have to necessarily agree with it, but unless you appreciate it, unless you respect it, unless you understand it, unless you empathize with it, you can't really serve them. You can't fall in love with it. And the point I'm making is you're selling to people who aren't always like you. You're trying to lead and inspire people who aren't necessarily like you. Not only like you in interests, like modalities, but some people are visual. Some people are kinesthetic. Some people are auditory. You'll see them express themselves in different ways. They'll say, look at this, or listen to this or see this or watch this or read my lips. And that's showing you how different their mind processes. I really impact most powerfully people who are very auditory, very visual, very graphic. Some people who are real linear have trouble calibrating for me. So I have to work harder trying to appreciate how you see life or how you see life. But unless I appreciate it, unless I understand it, unless I empathize with it, I can't basically ratchet up or down to enough lowest common denominator to build a bridge of trust where I can counsel you. And I can't do that if I'm not interested enough to extend myself. Does that make sense? Does what I've so far said really work with you? Next slide, please. And then from all of these changes in philosophy, there come anchor points. And when we need structure, we bring in some of our tried and true strategic frameworks. The first, the level 1 brand diagnostic, fast and easy facilitated framework that helps you identify your brand attributes, define who your users are, and prioritize your business goals from a perspective of awareness, efficiency, and revenue. There's also the business model canvas. Now we use this to align the vision, strategy, and the execution. The value here is clarity, efficiency, and leverage. These are available for you. Just send me an email and I'd be happy to share them. In conclusion, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this presentation. Share a comment with me on LinkedIn.